Mountain View Bible Camp family. Thank you for joining us for the Mountaintop Advent series. As we continue to read Love Came Down at Christmas by Sinclair B. Ferguson. Chapter 16. Hope springs eternal. Love hopes all things. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 7. When we say, I hope so, we do not usually mean the same thing as the New Testament does. We may be hoping for a white Christmas, even although the weatherman is predicting sunny and cold with occasional showers. That is not hope, but wishful thinking. What then is hope? Imagine a child catching a glimpse of his father sneaking something into the house, something that is difficult to carry and has two big wheels. If later you were to ask him, what are you hoping for this Christmas? He would reply with a big grin, I am hoping for a new bicycle. Do you think you'll get it? Oh yes, I'm sure. That is the hope of the biblical sense. It is being sure that we will receive something you don't yet have. So, when Paul says, love hopes all things, he is not just describing a glass half full kind of person who's always hopes for the best. He means somebody who believes the promises of God and is waiting for them to be fulfilled, no matter what. The Christian is, by definition, a hopeful person. That hope is not artificial self-projection. It is produced in us by God's promises. Because we love and trust the Lord, we believe the promises He has given in His Word. They have become the spectacle lenses through which we view everything. And that is what injects the melody of hope into our hearts. But what does Paul mean by saying love hopes all things? He means that we have the underlying confidence that God will be with us and bless us, just as He has promised, even when life is at its worst. But surely such confident assurance does not belong to the real world. Our lives are full of disappointment, hopes in relationships, at work, and in thousands of experiences in life. Is Paul advocating an ostrich-like, head-in-the-sand way to live? No, Paul knew plenty of pain and disappointment. One look at his back would have assured you of that. Later, in words that filled him with embarrassment, he described what you would see on his back. Evidence, countless beatings. 5 times I received from the Jews the 40 lashes less one. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I was adrift at sea. This doesn't sound like a naive hope for the best kind of a man. Paul was a realist, especially about the tough times he faced as a Christian. Yet he makes the striking claim that hope does not put us to shame. It doesn't let us down or disappoint us. Why? Because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit, who has been given to us. What does this mean? Our biggest hope is for everlasting life, for heaven and all that will follow it in the new heavens and earth. Being sure of that, even although we don't yet experience it, changes everything. It is like light appearing at the end of the tunnel, dispersing the total darkness that engulfs us. It enables us to see our way forward. Paul's point is this: heaven is a world of love. From that heaven, God sends the Spirit of His Son into our hearts. He brings heaven's love down to earth and floods our hearts with a sense of it. We know we are loved. We are sure of our place in heaven because God the Father has given us His promise. But we are also sure of it because the Holy Spirit has brought the atmosphere and love of heaven down to us here and now. Love incarnate, Jesus Christ, came down to earth at Christmas. He did so to stoop further down. So, the humiliating death on the cross for our sins and its shame, but He stooped to conquer. He rose again in triumph over sin, death, and Satan. Since he did all this for us, his resurrection is the guarantee of the resurrection of all who belong to him. Paul had an impressive way of putting this to the Corinthians. They were accusing him of vacillating. He was coming to visit them, or wasn't he? He replied that he was a follower of Christ. His yes meant yes, just like Jesus. For all the promises of God find their yes in him. The incarnation, the birth of Christ child, is, as we have seen, the ultimate yes to the promises of God. But why? First, because it means God has kept his oldest promise, recorded in Genesis 3, verse 15. There would be ongoing conflict between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman, and then ultimately between one seed of the woman and the serpent himself. The older artist, who pictured the infant Jesus with a serpent being crushed underneath his foot, understood this well. God has kept that promise. When we sing the first verse of O Little Town of Bethlehem, we are reminded of this. O little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. Above the deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by. Yet in thy dark street shineth the everlasting light. The hopes, the fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. Phillips Brooks. The hopes of all the years converged there on the first Christmas Eve. And if God has kept this, his oldest promise, we can also be sure that he will keep all his promises. That is the hope of love. But the incarnation not only means the longest standing promise of God has been fulfilled. Second, it means that the costliest promise of God has been fulfilled. God keeping his promise meant his son would suffer and die. To keep his promise of forgiveness, freedom, and eternal life, he did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all. Paul draws the logical conclusion, since this is the case, we can be sure God will withhold nothing from us that is for our ultimate good. The logic goes like this. If you spend £500 to pay for a holiday, but then discover there is an additional £10 taxi fare to be paid to get from the airport to your destination, you're not going to turn back. No, since you have already paid so much, of course you will pay the extra. The same logic applies here. If God has kept his major promise by giving his son for you and to you, you can be sure he will keep every promise he has made. That is why his love is the foundation, not only for faith, but also for hope. And that hope lasts, and it will never fail. It is a hope that we can hold on to, even when we are suffering, even when life seems to be unraveling at the seams, even when our worst nightmares are coming true. We can still have hope, because God kept his biggest promise, his oldest and costliest promise, when love came down at Christmas. I want to take a moment to thank you for reading along with us today from the book Love Came Down at Christmas. We would like to thank the Good Book Company for graciously allowing us to share this book in its entirety with our followers from camp. To purchase a copy of this book for yourself or for a loved one, please go to thegoodbook.com or Amazon. The links can be found in the description of these readings that we are sharing with you. If you enjoy this book and want to learn more about the author or further publishings, please like or follow the Good Book Company on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We trust you have a safe, joyful, and wonderful holiday season.